Okay.
Yep, we're aware, Chair.
Okay, welcome everyone to this evening's Parish Council meeting. As you're all aware, the meeting is being recorded. You all know your own emergency procedures. And once again, if we have a major outage on the broadband, we'll reconvene at the earliest possible time. Okay, and welcome Jonathan as well. Okay, moving on to item 2. Any apologies, Peter?
None received, no.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, declarations of interest. Any members have a declaration of interest on any of the items?
Yes, please. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Yeah, can't see me. That's it. Item 8.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Jackie.
Sorry, I couldn't get back in on time. My eyes packed. I've got tendinitis. I can't sit for very long.
So you'd like it to be a quick meeting?
It's not going to be, is it?
Okay, item 4 is to agree and sign the minutes of the previous meeting, which is paper A. Has everyone read them and any comments?
There was an error in there, Chair, which I mean I've amended in my copy anyway, but I think I'd obviously left it from a previous meeting. The election of Parish Council Chairman was proposed by Councillor Mitchell and seconded by Councillor Stewart Cole.
Okay.
I believe I'd said it was Councillor Parker, which was my error.
Yes, because he wasn't actually there then, was he?
No, he wasn't. He didn't arrive till 8 o'clock, yeah. A glaring error.
Okay. Subject to that change, do we have a proposal?
Yes, I'll propose it then.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. All those in, do we have a seconder? I'll second it then.
Thank you.
All those in favour of accepting the minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Item 5 is the public open forum session. Jonathan, do you want to say anything on this one?
Just a couple of minutes, Chair. Brief update on the volunteering side of things. Main thing is all seems to be going reasonably well. Not found or addressed any major issues at the moment. We're going to start getting our volunteers to start thinking about the change in the ruling from Monday. So I think it will be encouraging people now to maybe engage a little bit more with coffee over the fence, obviously appropriately socially distanced, to try and connect with those people that might have been isolated now for quite a while. You'll probably know that the pie night has sort of turned into a casserole night, but it's still going. First week we had 65 pies. Last week 45. I've not got a final count for this week, but we still have a reasonable demand for that. And the final thing is, some of you might have seen on the Facebook pages about illuminating the church blue for the NHS tonight. It won't be tonight because we've had a major supply problem with basically the materials arrived and it's stuck at UPS in Northampton, who informed us today that they've got a crisis, whatever that means. So whether they've got a COVID incident there or not, I don't know. But it's stuck there and they won't let us pick it up either. So the church will glow blue for the NHS, but it will be a legacy glow as opposed to a tonight glow.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan.
That's it from me.
All right, thank you very much. Lynn?
Oh, I was just going to ask if you think it's a good idea to have a bit of a thank you to all the volunteers that have stepped up to the mark, a bit of an event.
Yeah, we've been thinking along those lines when it's appropriate to do so. We think some sort of gathering would be a brilliant idea, and it's been mixed. You know, out of the probably around 110 volunteers now, some have been more active than others.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think that makes any difference. I think it'd be nice to have some sort of thank you when it's appropriate.
Yeah, lovely.
Well, we did have an item a couple of months ago saying maybe we ought to be doing something when all this is over.
Mm.
So I think we can sort of resurrect that and bring it to full council then.
We do have budget provision because we've got the funding from the VE day that we'd allocated.
Yeah. That's right, we've got
Yeah,
an event day,
that's
haven't we?
And we could always use St David's as an area that's got good space for people to walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jonathan, and
That's
once again,
okay.
thank you to all your volunteers
Thanks, no
for the
problem.
work they're doing. Okay, moving on to part one of the meeting. Item 6 is the financial transactions. To consider the financial transactions and authorise payments for.
That's better.
Sorry, Tom and Ian have just joined us. They must have had issues getting through.
Okay,
There you now.
thought perhaps Ian had dropped off that comfortable bed.
It will come.
I can't hear. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, can Tom, thank you.
I still can't hear anybody.
Must be your end. Is your speaker?
I think we can hear all hear everybody. Is that any better? Tom, can you hear now? No, I'm not sure. Okay. Paper B is
Peter,
the
can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can't hear a thing.
I don't know what to say about that, apart from maybe logging out and logging back in again.
Yeah, I was going to say that standard IT advice.
Yeah, turn it off and switch it back on again.
Do you want to do that, Councillor Mitchell?
He can't hear us.
you.
Can't hear you.
Shall I write it down? I thought he said he could hear us, but we couldn't hear
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, we can hear him, but not the other way round.
I could just remove him and he'd have to log back in again.
That might be the easiest way. Okay, well, we'll see what happens when he comes back in. Anyway, the financial transactions, paper B. Moving on. Anybody, any comments?
I'm happy
on
to
those?
propose those.
Sorry, Lynn.
I said I'm happy to propose those.
Okay, do we have a second for those?
I'll second it.
Okay, Kevin put his hand up. Was that you as well, Francis?
Francis,
It was.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favour, please raise your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone, thank you very much. Okay, paper C is the report of the Finance Working Group. Which I presume people have
Tommy
had a
needs
chance
to log back
read.
in again. All right. Yes. Okay.
Log out and log back in again.
You're in now. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye.
Welcome back again, Tom.
I'm not sure what happened.
Can you hear us now?
I can, yes, thank you.
Excellent.
And we've also been joined by District Councillor Nick Bunting.
Hello, Nick. Welcome to the meeting.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. We're just doing the report of the Finance Working Group, which was paper C. There's a couple of recommendations there. First one is to note the report of the Finance Working Group. Is everyone quite happy to note that report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second point is the Parish Council to consider the procurement of a new financial management system, which is a proven product and design for parish councils. Which Peter's just putting up on the screen now. Which is paper D. Everyone wants to look at it themselves. Basically, the Sage system is a bit over the top for what we really require. And Peter's carried out a piece of research and found a couple of other products. He's had an online demo of Scribe. I've actually seen that video as well. Scribe is within our budgets, and Peter would initially like to run both Scribe and Sage together for a year, so we get a smooth crossover. Now would be a good time to do it, because obviously there's very little to change over from one system to the other. Lynn?
Oh, have you finished? I was happy to wait.
No, that was pretty much what I was going about.
Peter and I had a chat about this earlier. The RBS Amiga system, I'm not sure, that quote's a couple of years old. I use that one, and it's £312 plus VAT a year, which is actually cheaper than Scribe. My proposal would be for Peter to trial both of them on that basis and see which one he prefers, because they are actually both about the same price.
I can't work out why they quoted 2,800 plus a load of extras.
Me neither, but you won't find that out till Monday. But it is worthwhile looking at RBS, because it's used by a lot of clerks, and it's a really good system. Yeah,
I wasn't convinced they'd be able to trim £2,500 off the price. It's just so way out.
Yeah,
there was no point going back to them, because it's not as if they were within £10.
No, but I say mine's £312 a year for that. So I think you've perhaps been quoted for things that you don't need.
Yeah, all I asked them was a fully inclusive quote, so we didn't get caught out with any extras later, because I know companies' software can sell you the basic and then afterwards tell you need to buy all the modules.
Absolutely.
And I just didn't want to fall into that trap.
I think it's actually the other way round. They've given you kit and caboodle, and you don't need quite a lot of it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, can I understand what, through you, Chair, what Lynn was saying?
Yeah, I mean, Lynn's saying that the council she works for use the RBS Amiga system and pays £312 a year. We've been quoted £2,830 for year one, plus 4 days training at £400, and then the running costs are £705 per year. So there seems to be
I think there's something wrong somewhere, and the quote you've got, Peter, is 2 or 3 years old now. 2017, did you say?
It was correspondence in 2017.
Yeah,
but I thought if anything the prices would go up, they wouldn't plummet down.
No, but I think they might have changed how they work now, maybe.
Right.
And brought themselves more into line with the other companies on the market.
I'm happy to go out for another quick quote from them, because I say they'll have to sharpen the pencil really well to get that down to less than 400.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked at the video as well as Peter, and it does seem to give us an awful lot of information from Scribe, very much in line with the sort of reporting that Peter wants to achieve. But if it's worth waiting, I mean, whether we could authorise the payment of another system, and then just leave Peter to check to see what the RBS one comes in at as the second bite of the cherry.
Well, I could bring it back to the June meeting, Chair.
I don't think you need to, really. We could just propose to leave it up to you, up to a maximum cost of what the
scribe is.
The scribe one is, yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, does anybody else have any comments? Sorry, Sandra. Sandra?
Right, okay, it's everyone keeps cutting out, so I'm only getting bits of conversation. So I'm sorry if this has already been said, but is there any possibility that Peter can have a month's trial of both of those systems? Because it's not until you actually start using something that you actually realise whether it's for you or not. I know there's a massive cost difference, but it is about whether it's fit for the job, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I agree.
I mean, the both market leaders within the parish council business. I know Scribe's got 400 users. I don't know how many RBS it's got. Probably as many, if not more. So I know Scribe is web-based. I don't know if RBS has moved to web yet. I assume they have. And you can't trial them because you've got to load all your data into them. I can have demos, or I could visit other parish councils to look at them.
Yeah, I think that's what you've got to do, because if they haven't made a clerical error and it's 4 times as more expensive, but actually you find it easier to work with, then that's where my vote would go. And I think there's some missing information, like web-based and all of that. So there's still a lot, I think, to clarify before we vote on a recommendation.
Okay, I propose that we defer this till the end of June to give Peter a chance just to update the figures and find out if the RBS one is web-based and just do a bit more research. I mean, it's obviously very hard to go and see the things working at the moment.
You can come and have a look at my system.
But you can't go in your house to see it.
Oh, no. You
can do it via web, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You could use Microsoft Teams for that.
Yeah, we can do Teams, can't we?
Yeah, just do Teams.
Yeah. That's fine. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Are you happy to do that, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we just defer it until June.
Yeah.
And I could come back with as much. I try not to sync members with information, but I can give you as much information as you need, really, to make an informed decision.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's yourself who's using the system, so you've got to be the one who's comfortable with.
Yeah.
We're just signing it off in a way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so that's dealt with finance. Item 8 is St David's Recreation Ground. First point is to consider request to use space outside the Central Sports Club for tables and chairs, which is paper E. This really is starting the ball rolling for when Central Sports can open again. Is that correct, Jackie?
Yes, yeah. Because of the small space inside the building, we think we'll need more space outside to meet the whatever the requirement's going to be. But we're going to have to take tables out of the inside building, and because we get a large number of members attending, the only way that we could probably manage it is to have an area cordoned off around the patio.
I mean, obviously at the moment, I think I'm right in saying that you have a patio area but no drinking is allowed out there. Is that right?
No, you can drink on the patio,
On the patio.
but not on the grass.
Right.
People do take their drinks to the grass area, and our worry is that if we don't have a larger space, people will just wander off, but even if we ask them not to.
Yeah, they'll spill out onto the area anyway, won't they?
Yeah.
Well, I think, Chairman, if we did do this, we would need a proper agreement, because in the past there's been grey areas as to who was responsible for anyone who had an accident, for example. It has happened in the past where accidents have happened outside, and it was not quite certain who was to be responsible ultimately. So firstly, I'd want there to be a proper agreement in a designated area. And secondly, also, I wouldn't want them to have an ongoing right of occupation, because that could compromise what we want to do with that playing field. In other words, I wouldn't want to give them a lease for 3 years to use the land. It's an informal use. I'm all for it. I can see the problem. Let's get that problem done. But it's got to be done properly with an agreement, and so it's not an ongoing right of occupation.
No, my view is that it's a short term.
I'll be happy with that. More than happy.
Yeah. Sandra?
If we're going to do this properly, because it would be in breach of our own bylaws of alcohol on that recreation ground, does this not become a bit of a legal matter, and therefore it has cost implications?
Chair, I've looked at the bylaws. I couldn't find any reference to alcohol or smoking or anything in the bylaws.
I thought there was something where there was something very specific about, as Jackie said, people aren't allowed to take their alcohol beyond the terraced area, but they do, which implies that there's got to be something in writing somewhere.
I think that would be the central sports lease agreement.
No, Chairman, with respect, it's a Daventry District Council alcohol order. It applies to Fox Hill Crescent, the Ashway, St David's, and the various other streets as well. Daventry have put it on. If you look at the lampposts in the area, full details are on those lampposts of the law. That kicks in.
It's one of the public orders, yeah. That's community safety, isn't it?
Yeah, miscellaneous provisions, I think it is.
Right. I haven't had any notice of that. Perhaps Daventry had served it on somebody else, maybe. Should I check out the legality of that?
I think we need to make sure that...
Personally, I think that we need to make sure that we're going down. We've got time, not a huge amount of time, the way that this lockdown is being relaxed, but I do think that we need to just make sure that we're not opening a can of worms.
Yeah. I'll check with Daventry regarding that notice, but Councillor Barrett's right. They usually put that in areas where there's antisocial behaviour as a way of taking alcohol off young people and shifting them on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But usually that sort of arrangement usually needs review, and I think every 12 months. And I've never had any correspondence, but perhaps they just do it automatically.
Mm.
So I think before we can go any further, we need to check on the status of this at the moment, then, don't we?
Yeah, I'll check with Daventry.
Okay. Is this another one then that we should bring back?
Yes.
End of June with more information.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't see pubs and clubs being open in the next month. I must admit.
We think, I don't know where it came from, I think mid-July or beginning of July we thought would be the earliest if it opens then.
Right.
So we've got a bit of time. We can still do what we need to do to the inside. And there was no thoughts about taking advantage of an extended area, just being able to manage it is the issue. If it's an area that we've got that we can manage it. But if not, people will be going off. I mean, we use plastic glasses for outside anyway, but we don't want people wandering off over the park with their glasses, because they just cause litter and problems.
Yeah, I mean, all the other stuff that Peter's put in the report, I presume you're quite happy with them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Lynn, you had your hand up.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I thought you did. You went like that, so I presume.
Oh, no. Okay. I mean, I do wonder, to be fair, if we could just agree it subject to Peter finding out that additional bit of information, and then it wouldn't have to be brought back if most people are in favour of it.
I think I'd like to know where we stand legally first, I think. Because if we give agreement and then pull it back, then effectively we could be causing Central Sports additional costs by pulling something back that they thought was agreed.
I'm not suggesting that we agree, we send them a letter to say it's agreed. I'm just suggesting that as a council we agree in principle between us, subject to finding out this additional bit of information. That it's fine. I'm happy for it to be brought back.
Is everyone happy? Quite. Everyone else quite happy? Sorry. Yes. Sandra?
I think that if we went with what Lynn is saying, we're agreeing. We're in effect. Is this what you're saying, Lynn? Is that do you know what? Off you go. From tomorrow, you can use that area.
No, I'm not at all. No, what I'm saying is that rather than bring it back to the meeting, the council could if everyone is in agreement that that is the only barrier to this being approved, that Peter could actually go off and find out that information. If it's no, this is a definite no, Daventry have put in the public space protection order, then he can tell them straight away that it's a no, and if it's all okay, he could then go back to them and say that's fine because you've already given your tacit agreement to the approval. I was just trying to save another meeting.
I think it will come up in next month's meeting anyway. To be honest with you,
I'd rather Peter didn't have the responsibility of saying yes, that's fine, and I think we ought to perhaps take that once it's got the information.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think also, Chairman, it might be a matter for the club, but someone will have to make sure that area is licensed. At the moment, it's outside the curtilage of the licensed area.
I presume that's something you can check on, Jackie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check on that.
Okay, so we'll defer that to the end of next month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, item 2, Davis Recreation Ground, is to consider appointing a representative to the Central Sports Committee, which is paper F. Going back a few years, I think we always had a representative on the Central Sports Committee, which I think was you, Jackie, at the time as well.
It was. I think it was. Yeah. Prior to that, I think it might have been John Blason years ago, when he was a councillor as well. But anyway, yeah, I was part of it. I was the representative for a while, and then it sort of dropped off. I don't know what happened. I don't know why we suddenly stopped having a representative.
I think it's the time we had the review and the council audit, we decided to have representatives on very, very few committees. It's one of those that got dropped at that time. What's his name? John
Marshall.
Marshall. Yes, it's after that, yeah.
Right. It seems to me sensible to have a representative, especially with the fact that the lease will be coming up for renewal.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose at the moment we're in the fortunate position that you're on both, Jackie, so that we do get to know what's going on. But yeah, I don't think it would be a bad idea. Sandra?
I think because the lease is coming up, which is obviously very, very important, I'm just wondering whether we could actually maybe consider having two representatives on there just to take the load, really, because I think there will be a lot of toing and froing. And what do you think, Jackie?
It was okay last time. Was it you, Peter? Were you the clerk when we renewed it last time?
No. No, I've never been involved with Central Sports, really.
No, I think, yeah. But yeah, don't mind, it's council decision. I don't mind doing it. There'll be the 4 trustees will be involved with the parish council representatives to organise and renew the lease. So if you want more people involved, that's fine by me. I don't know that it's actually necessary, but we'll go with it if that's what you want.
Well, I think sort of when we start looking at the lease, I think sort of obviously Peter will be involved, and if we start in the next year, then I don't mind being involved in that as well, so that we have a broad understanding really what we want as a parish council and what the Central Sports want. But yeah, I mean, the first thing is, do we have a representative? And if we say yes, are we happy for Jackie to be that representative?
Yep.
So I think yes, and I'd like to propose Jackie as that representative.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, seconded by Lynn. Yeah, thanks. So all those in favour of Jackie being the representative? Yeah, so we're good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, then moving on to the next bit is to note that the legal agreement for Central Sports is subject to renewal on the 4th of November 2022, which I suppose in legal terms is not very far away. And I suppose once we're able to meet or even do Team or Zoom or whatever, it's perhaps something we ought to start looking at to get people's thoughts on it. Does anyone else have any comments on this? Yes, Aina.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, how often does the lease come up for renewal?
I think the last one was 25 years, but we renewed it because we extended the patio area, and there was all sorts of, Ian referred to earlier, all sorts of issues about who owned what, and that was why we renewed the lease. It wasn't clear.
Was that done 4 or 5 years ago?
About 5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elaine? Elaine, you've got your hand up. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, sorry. What does it mean to renew the lease? Does it mean that we can take it back under our control as a parish council? Does it mean that we hold interviews? Does it mean we ask for applications? What is the process?
The building's owned by Central Sports.
Yeah.
So basically we lease to Central Sports the ground we're fixing. So we don't get involved in the actual running of Central Sports. That's correct, isn't it, Jackie? I think that's,
yeah. The building is owned by the sports club, but the ground we lease from the parish council. And if we don't own it, the regulations at the moment are that we have to take it all down and make good the ground underneath. But I think that any changes that we make to the lease will perhaps be affected by whatever happens with the Section 106 money, because it may mean that we need more changing rooms, or we need to extend out to get the space and the facilities, because at the moment the sports club pay for all the usage of the facilities for the football and cricket. Nobody else uses it at the moment, but of course that could change.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to sort out. I mean, there's probably lots of sort of agreements and tidying up of agreements and whatever else we've got there, and bringing it all under one proper document. And yes, I mean, sort of by then we will have whatever we're going to be doing with the Section 106 money sorted.
Yeah.
Elaine?
Sorry again. So would it be possible that we could ask for them to take it down and we could rebuild? We could build something there that we wanted with the changing rooms, with a cafe, with coffee facility and coffee making facilities to sell to people on match days.
That's there already.
Yeah, but we don't own it.
No, but I'm saying the facilities are there. It's about, well, yeah, I mean, I suppose.
Because at the moment, any profit, we don't get anything back from that. I'm thinking about, this whole Section 106 money and what's going on and the thing. It's going to cost a lot of money to potentially build extra changing rooms, for example. But if we could recoup some of that income with, thinking how busy. I've been to Morsley and a lot of other places for Saturday morning football, and they make a fortune on bacon sandwiches and tea and coffee and whatever,
Yeah, I think you have to balance that against that it doesn't cost anything either to the parish council for people for the facilities. Even, for example, the electricity in the groundsman's shed, that's all covered by the club. So there's wins and loses on it. I mean, it needs looking at very carefully. Very carefully.
Jackie, am I right in thinking that any profits you make should go back to the clubs?
It always goes back to the clubs. It's a non-profit making organisation. And it's run, apart from one paid person, it's run by volunteers. So one of the difficulties about doing more for the football, for example, in terms of sandwiches and things, and it does happen on a Saturday afternoon, they do hot dogs and bacon sandwiches, but for the morning matches, it's getting volunteers to come and cook it. I mean, the football clubs themselves can use it, because they do. The cricket club do. When they have their fourth teams playing, they bring their own cheese, make their own sandwiches, etc. So the facilities are there for people to use, but the club doesn't manage it.
Does that answer your questions, Elaine?
Maybe. Confused.
Lynn?
I was just going to ask, if we're going to be circulated with the current lease to review, and if we've got a solicitor that we use to then just give it a final double check. Is that the kind of process you're going through?
Well, I think we need to sort of see what the current lease says.
Yeah. First.
Or if it's an amendment, or whether it's a brand new lease, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then see where there's any discrepancies, what's missing, any loopholes, and then it may be needing a new lease totally. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can't really answer that one without seeing where we are. Sandra?
I think Jackie is right in that, if Section 106 money is spent on St David's, that will have an impact, a potential impact on Central Sports, but we don't know that yet, and we won't know that for quite some time. So, I mean, this lease is not due for renewal until 2022, and I think it will take a working group to go through this and to make sure that there is a partnership, a proper partnership going forward with the parish council and with Central Sports, where Central Sports can get something out of this as well. But I mean, I don't think that's a discussion for now, because we don't know what's happening with the Section 106 money. I just think we need to park it, see what happens with the Section 106 money. If it's spent on St David, then we can address it. If it's not, then it's a completely separate issue.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason this is on the agenda is to make people aware of it, and it's the sort of thing we need to start looking at now, because it'll soon come round to 2022 and we won't have the lease in place.
Well, that's fine. So do you want to put a working group together now? If we've only got 18 months to sort this, do we put a working group now? So as Lynn said, so that we can at least have a look at what the current lease is and maybe go, well, that clearly is 40 years old and needs updating in the current environment, etc., etc., etc. Make it more contemporary. So
I'm quite happy to work with Jackie and Peter. I don't know if anybody else wants to come on a working group, or Ian, you got your hand up?
Yeah, just wondering what its terms of reference would be. I think the point's being made. It's very difficult, apart from speaking in very general terms at this stage, exactly what the terms of reference for any group could be. We don't know what we're doing with the field yet.
No, we need to look at the lease and see what's there.
What Lynn has suggested, that we just we circulate the lease to everyone as it stands at the moment.
Absolutely.
And then people can see whether or not they want to be on this working group.
Yeah,
I can bring a report back with the lease as a reference document, and then Councillor Barrett's right, we should have terms of reference for the working group, and then we can agree the members and put it on a formal footing with clear responsibilities and deliverables and timescales.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So
How long do you think we'll need for that, Peter?
Sorry?
How long do you think we'll need for that? A couple of months?
Possibly, yes. Funnily enough, I'm in the community centre on Monday, so I can dig out a copy of the legal agreement. It's upstairs in the strong cupboard, and I can scan that in. And you might have something next month, if not the month after. But of course, in 2 months, we should know which way we're going with St David's regarding investment of the 106. So that will probably shape how we view the club's role. Yeah.
Okay, so should we have a target for 2
months? Yeah, July.
Stop of 2 months.
July. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone quite happy with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Item 9 is highway speed limits. To consider a supporting request to vary the speed limits on Station Road, Brixworth, which is paper G. This has come about from a request by a resident.
Sorry, Chair, for jumping in. It's nearly 8 o'clock, so I'm going to go outside.
Yeah, I am. So I am as well.
So we just want to take a 4 or 5 minute break?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So why are we taking the break?
Because of the 8 o'clock clap for the NHS.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay. Back in 2 minutes.
Increases from 30 to 60, then back down to 30. And a suggestion has been made that perhaps it should be cut to 40 miles an hour. I don't know what anybody else has to say on this.
Is it the idea that where the station cottages are, it'd be 40 miles an hour at that point.
No, I think it's at station cottages. It's 30, and it's a section.
Yeah.
So it's just the section between basically the allotments and Station Road.
It's so you don't speed up as soon as you go past the allotments to 60.
Yeah.
Go down to 30 for that narrow bit, then speed back up. I think they're saying it's more, and it does seem to make sense that yes, you increase to 40, but then you're only dropping down to 30 again.
Yeah, as opposed to going up to 60 and straight through Station Road, straight through past the cottages at 60.
It seems to make sense because the 60 bit is a legacy from when there wasn't the limit at station cottages, or it certainly wasn't the 30 limit.
If I may come in, Chairman, there.
Yes, Ian, yeah.
I think the thing is, we need to see if it fits the police criteria first, because if it doesn't, there's no point even asking. If it does fit their criteria, then it might be worth us asking if we're minded to. Personally, I don't think it will fit their criteria, as it's not in the built-up area, but it might. We could also supply our figures that we've got for the speed in the actual built-up area itself, which might be useful to them as well. Could add weight to a case either way.
Yeah, I mean, sort of the figures that we've got at the moment shows sort of basically speeds coming down nearer the 30 mark, but I don't think we've got anything down there for showing people jumping from 30 to 60.
Ian Boyes at the county, he's recommended that obviously be put in front of the panel, which consists of police, to look at the matter. But he said the panel wouldn't support a 30 mile an hour limit, but they would certainly look at it in a bit more positive manner if it was 40 miles an hour.
I mean, to my mind, it makes sense to, as Elaine said, for it to be a more consistent speed down there, instead of going 30, 60, 30.
Well, they say, sorry, can I say something else? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Delayed again. They did something similar. So between us and Market Harborough, it used to be 60, then drop, I don't know, to 30 in the villages, maybe, or 40 in the villages on that stretch of road, and then they've reduced the speed to 50 in between those bits as well. So that's a better area, is it?
A few years ago, the stretch of the A508 between Maidwell and Hazel Beach was in fact 40 miles an hour. And that proved, and it's purely to safeguard the junction at the A14 where traffic was coming out against the head of speeding traffic. That was then lifted to 50 miles an hour because of representation. So between Maidwell and Hazel Beach, it's 50 miles an hour. It was 40, but they changed because that was proved to be unworkable.
Oh, that's right. But then they did drop the speed in the villages bits to 30, didn't they?
Maidwell's always been 30. It's a notorious speed trap, actually. Trust me. But my wife is well experienced with that one.
Great Oxford.
Well, so am I actually, but I'm sure maybe it's one of the other villages. I'm sure that the overall stretch was changed as well.
The stretch from Maidwell to Hazel Beach has been increased to 50, but through Maidwell, Hazel Beach, and Great Oxenden, they're all 30 miles an hour.
I mean, the recommendation is that we'll ask for comments on the introduction of a possible 40 mile an hour section. Is it something we would like to go forward and recommend for the group to have one of their regular meetings?
I think we should actually, because it is a bit quirky that if you come out of past the allotments and then you appear to be on the national speed limit, only to be hit again by a 30-mile-an-hour past station cottages. So I think it would be a good traffic calming and potential safety issue if it was in fact imposed at 40 miles an hour.
Ian?
Yes, I'd agree with that totally, and I think it's a matter of if it fits the police criterion, there's no reason why we shouldn't support it. If it doesn't fit the police criterion, then there's no point supporting it. It wouldn't get through anyway. So I suggest we simply pass this to the police committee and say, did it meet your criteria?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, because it's only the introduction of a possible 40, so we're saying that basically in principle we would agree with it as long as it meets the police criteria.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I propose then that in principle we support this, provided it meets the necessary police criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a seconder for that?
Yeah.
I'm happy to
Okay, then,
Right.
right. Take pick from anybody, please. Then.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter.
All those in favour then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everybody? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 10 is the cycle path of Northampton Road. To consider improving the signage to enable safer cycling on Northampton Road, which is paper H.
This item's been submitted by Councillor Barrett following his own experience as Chair. I don't know if Councillor Barrett would like to do some sort of introduction.
Thank you very much. When the estate part 2, to give you a bit of background, was planned, the neighbourhood plan group had quite a long chat with Barrett at the design stage to the way to make transport of cycles very, very safe. We agreed to put a cycle track and also a footpath inside the hedge. That is a little dotted line path going from the edge of the houses down to the bottom of the page.
Mhm.
Now, it comes out through a gap in the hedge. It's where the Toucan crossing is going to be. At the moment, you've got some pedestrian bollards there, so it's a safe place for cycles to pass. However, in their wisdom, highways, unbeknownst to anyone, continue the existing cycle track right down the hill, which has become a real racetrack. And I've seen people who are at the lay-by in danger of being hit by fast cycles. They get to the bottom, they run out of cycle track, and swerve onto the main road, straight onto the roundabout. Now, whilst we can't stop people doing that, all we really need, I think, is a little signpost showing where the safe cycle path is. And that's where the little dotted line is, I believe, just to the just below the existing houses that are shown on the map. Now, I would suggest if we could ask Barrett to put it there, cycle route to Country Park or something, that would just focus the cycle traffic onto that safe path rather than the path that's next to the main road.
Yeah, because there is actually a sign on the junction of Northampton Road and Merry Tom's Lane, which sort of points in a bit of a weird direction for a cycle route, and it doesn't seem to point down Northampton Road or directly across. It looks like it's perhaps been knocked round at about 30 to 40 degrees.
Yeah. It's where you leave the main cycle track, I was thinking. When you turn left through the gap in the hedge before the surgery, after the surgery. That's
but as I say, the sign on the other side of Northampton Road does seem to point down the main road.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it points down Merry Tom's Lane the other way. So yeah, I sort of take your point. I mean,
Stephen?
Yeah?
Is the rest of it clearly signed, though? Because is it supposed to be broad enough to pass side-by-side cyclists and pedestrians? Because I don't think it's very clear. There are the signs there, but they sort of run out at the end of the road. I'm never quite sure if you're allowed to cycle on there, if it's supposed to be a cycle track or if I'm supposed to be on the road.
Yeah, that's where it's a bit confusing with the sign on the opposite side of the road, which gives the impression that perhaps it is a combined footpath and cycleway. It's sort of standard 1.8 metre wide, so theoretically it's wide enough for both, but if that was the way county council wanted to do it, it'd been handy to put a white line down the middle saying cycles this way and pedestrians the other.
Yeah.
But I take Ian's point that as you drop down towards the roundabout, it does quicken up down there, certainly.
I suppose I meant the whole thing could be clearer.
Yeah, the whole thing could be clearer.
I would agree with that.
Do we go back to NCC and ask for clearer signposts? I'm sure they'll come back to us to say, well, can we have some money? Which maybe for a couple of signs and no cycling or something like that. Lynn?
They could probably use some of the money that the government is giving to principal authorities for social distancing and signage and that sort of thing.
That's right, because they are pumping money into cycling, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So I definitely think it's worth an ask.
Interesting enough, I'm sure today there was an accident on that roundabout, wasn't it, with a cyclist?
Motorcyclist.
Was it a motorcyclist? Was it a cyclist or a motorcyclist?
I thought it was cyclist.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No.
Elaine, have you got your hand up, or perhaps not?
No, sorry, I did have my hand up, but that was my question before, and I forgot to put it down. But I have I've witnessed an accident on the far roundabout. The Ashway near Barbara. I've seen a cyclist get knocked down there, and I think that's partly because it's a bit unclear, because 1 minute you're on the pavement, 1 minute you're not.
Do we want to go back to the council?
Yeah.
Chair?
Yes.
Chair, let's just go back to the county council and ask them for their advice on that. And let's make sure, because I think it's a payment at the moment, not a double source thing. So we need just to check that up.
Yeah, does anybody else any comments?
No, it makes sense, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a good way of moving it forward.
Yeah. Is that a proposal then, Kevin?
It is.
Okay. Who wants to second that?
I will.
Who was that?
Me, Francis.
Okay, Francis, thank you.
Francis.
Okay. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Item 11, Section 106 scheme. First, we're going to do this in 3 parts. So, to note the schemes available. Second part is to agree an extraordinary meeting of the Parish Council on Thursday, the 18th of June, to discuss it in more detail. And the third part is to consider the use of specialist services for developing the indoor sports specification for the community centre. So, doing point 1 first, which is a paper I. And obviously we've got to start with the statement of the developer funds, which I think we all know.
There will be interest to be added to those figures, Chair, so
Okay.
They will be inflated slightly.
Okay, the other thing we need to think about as well is we have got SIL money and money that we have been putting aside for play areas as well, on top of that. Just to sort of increase the overall pot, so to speak. Okay, then we come down to the schemes that we've had mention of. Brixworth Short Back Bowls Club, are after an electric winding machine with bowling mats, which is 4,700 plus VAT, so that's about £5,700. The community centre, where maybe refurbishing the hall with flooring, lighting, to allow table tennis, dancing, and possibly climbing wall, £65,000. Brixworth Juniors have put in either the Ashway or St Davis Phase 1 7v7 Astro training pitch with a cost of 110,000, although the overall scheme is likely to be 400,000. Brixworth Cricket Club are after a roller for pitch maintenance and a new security door for their groundsman shed, which is £10,800. And then, then do we, as Parish Council, take ownership of the whole thing and go with multi-use games area, plus landscaping and additional bins, and provide a better and more up-to-date play area. So that are the sort of schemes that have been put forward, which is obviously what we want to discuss on June the 18th, because obviously that's going to be just a one-off meeting with one item. Has anybody any comments initially just on those? Ian?
Yeah, I understand this is a short list. After tonight, will it be the only short list we can have, or will there be a chance on the 18th after full discussion to add and amend this short list?
Well, we reached out to everybody in the village and said we wanted their bids or suggestions, and they're the only ones that have come forward.
Yes, well, perhaps councillors might have an idea as well.
Maybe so. But I mean, yeah, that's why we're saying really we need to have a special meeting just with one item on the agenda to move this thing forward.
Right. So this isn't cast in stone, is what I'm getting at.
No.
It can be added to and amended as we see fit.
It's not cast in stone until the council have decided at the meeting in June which direction it wants to go in.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And if the council in that meeting wants to defer it to investigate or look at a feasibility study for an alternative project, then it can do so at that meeting.
No, that's fine. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Lena?
Is it the parish council's decision which one we go with?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Daventry's decision finally where the money goes to, but they rely upon the parish council's advice and they'll listen to the parish council what the needs of the community are. So the parish council got a really strong voice, but it's the Daventry District Council's money that's sat in their bank account, and it'll be their decision to release it based upon our proposal.
Okay, thanks.
So we've got big influence, but we haven't got the cash in our bank.
Yeah.
Yes.
May I ask how robust these figures are?
The Brixworth short mat bowls was a quote.
That sounds like a quotation, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think the cricket club's a quote. The money for the community centre is a broad brush figure, as I suspect is the football club's. So I would say there's possibly two that are firm.
I think you're right to convene a separate meeting. Can you just explain, it's not entirely clear to me, that in respect to the Brixworth Juniors Football Club, they're seeking £110,000 of the Section 106. It says total scheme cost is £400,000.
Yeah.
So they've obviously got external funding in place already then of 280k. How's that
They say they have.
Right, okay.
That will be Football Foundation money.
Right.
But have we not heard since then? Was there a problem with Football Foundation money? Because we're involved?
No.
The only problem you have is it's not a problem. It's a requirement of them to have a long-term lease on the site, because the Football Foundation want it to be guaranteed that football can be played there, usually for like a minimum of 25 years. Right. So really, you'd hand the pitch over to the football club on a 25-year agreement, and then they can maintain it at their cost.
But I think also when we had a meeting with the Football Foundation, they're keen on community-wide stuff, particularly in villages. So, if the juniors turned around and said, "Oh, we want a 4G pitch," the chances of the Football Federation handing over the money for the 4G pitch is relatively small. But if the juniors came up with more of a community scheme, then the Football Federation would be more willing to look at that. That's my memory, Peter. What's yours?
Yeah, it was at that time, but I think you need to see the bid, Sandra, because they put quite a comprehensive package together explaining how they're funding it, and ideally you need to read that cover to cover to piece the story together, really.
Well, then, that as part of the agenda for the next meeting, we have all these bids sent to us, Peter.
Sorry, can I ask if all the bids are going to be on the same? They all had to fill in the Daventry District Council form.
Absolutely.
So we will have that, sort of in the next week. So we've got it all. We've got plenty of time to go through it all.
Yes. Yeah.
By the end of this week,
end of next week. I'm
at the latest.
I've got anything on because I've got to complete the. I'll try and get out end of next week, but it'll certainly be out more than a week before the date of the next meeting. So I've probably only got about a week anyway, to be honest, Lynn. When's the next meeting? We're proposing the 18th.
We're proposing the 18th. Yeah.
Got the wrong one.
That's May.
Yes, I know. Yeah, 18th. So it's going to be out for the 11th at the absolute latest. So I'll try and get them out week beginning the 8th.
Yeah, that would be really useful.
Because that is literally just after. Yeah, gives me next week, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ian?
And on the 18th, Chairman, will we be having a full feasibility study and costings of these? Because we've been down this road before, those have been knocking around for a while. We remember the Community Recreation Centre. What happened to that? And feasibility is very important to get it sorted out at an early stage. Will we be having that information on the 18th, do you think?
We'll have all the information that would be given as part of the bids. As far as the parish council one is concerned, we have a feasibility study from a company called Complan.
Yeah.
And we have those figures.
That's fine.
I think there's one or two bits missing, but I've sort of added stuff to that. But all those figures will be part of the package that Peter sends out.
Yeah, because I would expect a business case, if we're going to commit money, a business case for each of these proposals, so we can also judge the viability, not just the desirability of each of them.
Yes, well, that'll be. I think that might be picked up in the Daventry form where they'll all ask the same questions.
Right.
Yeah, you talk about sustainability of each project to make
yes.
Sure, yes, right. Yeah.
In effect, yes.
Yeah.
Anything else on sort of paper I? No? Okay, so moving on to point 2, to agree to an extraordinary meeting in the Parish Council on Thursday the 18th of June. Is everyone quite happy to have that to talk specifically about section 6 planners?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll propose that we hold the meeting, extraordinary meeting. Do you have a second for that, please?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favour?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody? Okay, thank you very much. And point 3 is to consider the use of specialist services for developing the indoor sports specification for the community centre. This sort of related to the £65,000 for using the hall for table tennis and that. Both Peter and myself thought it worthwhile if we could engage a company to do a proper feasibility to take into account what work needs doing in that area to turn it into something suitable for use for sports. We have approached a company called YMD Boone, who are based at Market Harbour, who are architects, surveyors, and are in a position to assist us with this sort of feasibility. I think, were they after a fee of £10,000? Oh, 10%, wasn't it?
No. It was a fee of I believe up to. I asked for an indication what it's likely to be. He said in the region of 10%.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the type of work that they do a lot of work for schools, do a lot of capital work for schools, including new build school halls and refurbishing school halls, which is basically the type of multi-use hall facility that we're looking at here. So they've got the expertise and the contacts, and obviously the project management skills, and it'll be a way of reducing our risk of not spending the money or not meeting the full expectations of the community.
Ian, I think you had your hand up first.
Thank you. Just perhaps Clark can help us. How does this match up with our need to seek tenders?
To be honest, Ian, I haven't. This is from memory. I think financial reg says we can appoint specialist companies that meet our requirements. We've struggled to find a company that can do it. I'm sure there are other companies out there. Councillor Mitchell may be aware of some, but more than happy to go out to other companies. But to be frank, we thought it was a find get a company that actually meets the spec perfectly in terms of school hall provision and multi-use hall provision.
I agreed wholeheartedly, but long as we're going through the correct procedures.
Oh yes, it would be subject to financial regulations without any doubt.
Yeah,
and I'm fairly sure there's a clause in there. I'm certainly sure there's something for planning specialists, and I thought there was something for quantity surveyors as well, an architect, but I could check on that.
Right.
So yes, anything I can put that in the minutes for you. That would be subject to financial regulations.
Thank you. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. This particular company, WMD Booth, is that correct? Have I got that right? WMD.
YMD Boone.
Oh, YMD.
I think it's a nationwide company, but it's got an office in Market Harbour.
And are they just specialists that will tell you what you need to do, or are they independent consultants?
They're independent.
But you mentioned that they do it like a. Do I get the impression it's like a turnkey, that they will not only give you, they will do the work as well?
No, they're just consultants. They've got an architectural department and a QS department.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. And they're based in Harbour?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've experienced it before because I've been in school governor, and they're one of these companies that do speculative capital bids for nothing for schools, and then when they're successful, they automatically get the work and deliver the projects. So they're quite well known around the area for work to schools and community halls.
Yeah, it's YMD Boone Limited, isn't it? That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, I know them from when I was at work. I've done several schemes with them on all sorts of projects.
Fine.
Lynn, I think you've got your hand up.
Ian asked the question that I was asking to ask.
Okay, Sandra?
So are you thinking of just employing them for a feasibility study on the the library, the top room of the library?
Yes, the community hall. Yes.
Okay, so this might be a silly question, but would they not be useful for to carry out a feasibility study for all of the applications? So, for example, where you've got the juniors asking for over £100,000, and yet they've still got to raise another 280 or however much it is. Would they be able to take a very, very objective viewpoint on this and go, yeah, that's absolutely possible that they can do that, or do you know what? No, it's not possible. They can't do that. It's just not. It's just not going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think. I haven't seen their bids. I think I would like us as councillors to see the bids first, and then if we needed to go back and say, you know what, we're not certain about this, then we could approach them and say, could you vet it, and ask if they could give us a fee for vetting it, because any fees that we're going to incur, we can incorporate as part of the bid. Because we will still need to have planning and all sorts of surveys done, regardless of whatever scheme we go for.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think that this is sort of like a chance, not a chance of a lifetime, but it is a chance for the parish council to do something very positive, recreational wise, for the village, and which we need to get it right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I think it would be good money spent to have someone do a feasibility study, so that it's something that we can fall back on as a parish council and say, we based our judgments on this, because no matter what the decision is, whether it's the juniors or the library or the multi-use games area, there will be people who are unhappy with the choice. But if we can flash them a feasibility study, then that just makes our life easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think also it will add weight with Daventry as well, by having an independent who has done some sort of feasibility costings, or vetted some work and said, well, actually, they're going about it the right way.
Yeah, and I think it just takes out the subjectivity of it and stuff, and the emotional side of it, because if we know these people who are behind these bids, and it's going to be a tough decision because you're going to have to let someone down, aren't you?
Yeah.
Ian?
Yes, well, I just think it's a decision. We are councillors, lots of us elected councillors who've been put in the position to make these decisions. I think we've got to have an outline decision in mind first before we go and pay 10% to someone for giving us an opinion.
But we've got
to be brave enough. We know what the village wants. We know what we believe the village wants. But we've got to be brave enough to go out there and say that's what we're going to get for you.
Yeah.
That's why I say we want to have a look at it first before we give anything else. Sandra?
Yeah. Well, as you said, you said that you can see if they can have a fee for looking at these bids, which hopefully wouldn't be 10%. I mean, I wasn't in the council when there was a bit of a mix-up with a skate park, where clearly a feasibility study hadn't been carried out by whoever the chair was at that time. Hopefully, the parish council has learnt from that colossal error that was made back then.
I mean, hopefully this is all about reducing risk, isn't it?
Yeah, this is about
by
reducing
bringing in
risk.
somebody specialist who's got experience,
and
a bit of project management skills, and they can flag up any red lights to the parish council if there are any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on this particular one, do we see if we can get a firm proposal rather than 10% from them for looking at the sports hall? And obviously we've got to check to make sure it's in compliance with the financial regulations.
I should have a firm proposal next week, so I can bring it back to that meeting in June, if you wish.
Okay.
And then you've got something definite.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I can also double check the financial regs to make sure that we're following everything by the book. So we could just defer it until the special meeting in June.
Okay. Tom?
Chair, can I ask, you say that we'll probably have a firm proposal sometime next week. Can we be privy to what we actually asked them to do? What brief did we give them? Or was it just like an open book challenge?
I mean, basically the brief, all it was the specifications outlined in the Section 106 agreement with the developer, which said that we need to come up with schemes that committed X amount of money against indoor sports, outdoor sports, and parks and gardens. So, as long as we meet the criteria for the 106 agreement, which generally means you've got to own the land or have a long lease of land, you can apply for funding.
I think in the context of the community hall, did we give a specific brief? You want to do this, and this, and therefore give your can you sort of project manage it or provide a specification of how we go about it?
The community centre is a bit of a different one, but they've actually allocated over £70,000 for indoor sports, where nobody stepped forward within the village for that funding.
No, okay.
So we're almost left with a budget that if we don't do anything, we'll lose it, and we've got the opportunity to introduce indoor sport into the community centre, which we've got control over.
Yeah, okay.
The community centre's got restrictions insofar as you can't fit, for example, a badminton court in there. So we've asked somebody to come up with some ideas what you can fit in there, which will be categorised as sport.
Yeah, okay. That's a bit better, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sandra?
No, Lynn was in front of me.
Oh, was she? Right.
Have you approached any of these play companies to see if they can do it? Because quite often they do free quotes for parish councils.
Yeah, the problem we've got with the community centre is we need to check to see if the glass is, whether we need to add any strengthening to glass, floors. So it's not just a case of putting the table tennis table in there. It's what we need to do, so say structurally, to make sure.
I think most of these companies are fully conversant with that sort of thing. It'd be worth contacting them.
I would feel happier having an independent consultant than a play company telling me that the windows are fine and 2 weeks later a ball goes through it. With the work outside, we have had a quotation from a company for Muga and play equipment for a total, well, I say a total package. They have excluded quite a few items, but so we have had a more comprehensive package for that sort of work.
Okay.
Sandra?
So a few years ago, we had a consultant come over. She's in Northampton, called Saiji Leisure. It's a bit of a strange word, but her first name was Liz anyway. And she came over, and we went from building to building to have a look at what indoor sports could take place in any of them. And the conclusion was that only the top floor in the library would be feasible, and that would only really be for table tennis, because so the hall up by the church, it's too narrow inside for anything, maybe apart from indoor bowls. The village hall, because it goes wide then narrow into that smaller room, and you've got the stage. It just didn't fit anything in, and it's quite extraordinary how much space you do need, either widthways, lengthways, or heightwise, for something like badminton. And we just haven't got a building inside. So that assessment has already been done, which is why we came up with the idea of table tennis for the library hall. So she's another one that obviously we can get back. because obviously we would need to get several quotes for this feasibility study, especially if they're going to be £10,000. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
The £10,000 might be on a sort of no win no fee bid, but anyway we can talk to that. A lot of companies do that.
I think £10,000 sounds an awful lot of money just for something like that. I really do.
So it's 10%, not £10,000. It's 10%.
Do the £10,000 seems to be being exchanged between people, because if it is £10,000, then it's something I'd be very wary of.
I think that's why I quite like the idea of seeing if they can do, sorry, through the chair, if they can, do a thorough job, but just let's have a look at the bids, because there may be something in any one of those 5 bids that we haven't seen, that we just can't see, because none of us are experts in this field. I've never provided sports facilities for anyone. Don't know if anyone else has. By all means, tell me if you have.
Many years ago I did Wollaston School Sports Hall as well as Brixworth Sports School. But that's when I was a boy there.
That's good news. So anyway, so that's that. So shall I retrieve Liz's details then, Peter, and you can have another chat with her.
I mean, personally, I'm unsure of the value of Liz, because I think it's building specialists you need, not leisure specialists. If you don't, her skill is strategic leisure. We really need somebody with the experience of the practicality of the lighting standard, the glazing standards, what type of floor that needs to go in, and coming up with prices. It's the QS technical side I think we need, rather than the strategic leisure advice. That's my view, anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
If I come in there, I would say that we need somebody who's got expertise in both, because having sort of general expertise in buildings, I mean, it's very, very diverse field, as I know myself, and you need somebody who's got that background in leisure facilities, as well as with the as well as the building knowledge. It's very important we get the right person here, who's perhaps dealt with something before, the right company, should I say. So I think we need to be perhaps quite sort of open-minded on this one.
But she has been out already, and she's told us, in her view, table tennis is probably the maximum thing you can get in there. I don't know what additional information she could provide.
No, I'm just thinking that if we're going to ask Boone to possibly, I have no idea, but possibly cast an eye over these other bids, then there's no reason why we can't ask her. I mean, I've just pulled up her website, and she says here that she does strategic planning, facility development and design, and sports development. And then under the leisure umbrella, she's got equality and diversity, which is something that we shouldn't forget with this Section 106 money, that we do need to ensure diversity and equality in this. So
I think, Sandra, there's nothing on there about costs or anything, and that's the important part that we need.
There's nothing on where about costs.
Whether she can provide costings, feasibility.
Well, we don't know until we make that telephone call. I mean, I just think that we've gone to one company to ask about a feasibility study, and I think we need to go and see if there are other companies. And the fact that one company is in Market Harbour, which is fantastic, and then this company is in Moulton Industrial Estate, is equally fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
We said, we've got to get the ball rolling somewhere. we're going to check out the financial regs to make sure that if we have to get 3 or 4 quotes, then we have to get 3 or 4 quotes.
Yeah.
We've asked them for 4 quotes, so it's the first stage. You know, we're saying what we've done. So what we want to do is, yes, do we need to have a specialist service? And I think everybody's answer is yes. So we need to then progress it from there. I don't think we need to sort out who we go to today.
No, but it's about quotes. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, as Francis said, we're going, whoa, hang on. Yeah, £10,000 is being bandied about, or 10% is being bandied about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that this company in Market Harbour goes, no, and we have a flat fee of 10%. What's your budget? 250,000. Right, we're going to take 10% of it. We don't offer an hourly rate to sort of cast an eye over your bids. Whereas this other company in Malton might turn around and go, yeah, my hourly rate is. It's, I don't understand why.
There's no way that we would engage anybody on an hourly rate.
I'm just saying, I'm just going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, but we don't know yet. We don't know what the quote is. We will look if it's extortionate, then obviously we would look elsewhere, and we may have to look elsewhere to do the financial regs. So the question is, are we going to consider a specialist? Yes or no? Not are we going to go with YMD Boone? It's are we going to look for a specialist?
I haven't got a problem with looking for a specialist, but we've got to look for more than one specialist, haven't we?
That may be the case, but that's not on. Are we going to look for a specialist? If it's yes, then we'll look for specialists.
Just to be clear, we're talking about the community centre, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom?
I was going to say, if anybody wants any bedtime reading, I can circulate extracts from the AJ Metric Handbook, which has lots of technical design criteria for a whole range of sports facilities, sizes.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you for that.
I take that's not actually a yes, is it really?
Ian?
I think there's 2 points here. One is, do we have a specialist? If so, who? The first one, I would formally propose we do go for a specialist, and then we give ourselves a week to find if there's a central body where we have recommendations or get quotes from those we've got. But certainly in the first instance, I'd say let's tonight go for it and say we want a specialist, without specifying who at this stage.
Yes. Yeah. Do we have a second for that proposal?
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you then. No, Tom. Okay. All those in... Sorry, Elaine, have you got a quick question before we...
No, I was too slow to second.
Oh, okay. All those in favour of that we use a specialist?
Yeah.
That's everybody. Okay, lovely. Okay, Peter, so we need to check on financial regs and where we go. Yeah.
Yeah. And once I get an idea of what Boone do, I can use their words to get quotes from other people to get like for like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be.
Otherwise, we'll be getting different prices for different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, part 2 is for information only, so hopefully we can whiz through this section. Item 12 is finance. Paper J is to receive the latest rolling budget. Everyone happy to receive that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Item 2 on that is paper K, which is the bank reconciliation.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And item 3 is the statement of the parish council's reserves, which is paper L.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to item 13, which is community safety. Point 1, to note the crime data is not available until further notice. Point 2 is to note the data downloaded from the parish council's speed indicator device, which is paper M.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 14 is to receive the planning decisions for April 2020, which is paper N.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to receive the minutes of the planning committee of the 30th of March, which is paper O.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone quite happy with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Item 15 is to receive the minutes of the Media and Communications Committee report for the 22nd of April, which is paper P.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, I don't know whether it was noted at the committee meeting, but on minute 20/361, it's got the committee note at the annual parish meeting for 2021 but not now take place. Should that have been 2020?
Yes, highly likely, Chair. Unless we're planning ahead.
Yeah. That's very efficient.
Yes, you're right.
You don't know what we've got planned.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, you can't cancel the annual parish meeting.
No. Yes, that obviously should read 2020.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
It's really just to prove that I did look at it.
Yeah.
Item 16 is the parish clerk's report, which is paper Q.
Can I make a comment on that, please, Chairman?
Yes.
The war memorial has been listed since we last cleaned it. It takes us 2-star. It might be specialist cleaning needed.
Yes, I think we spoke about that before.
Yeah. Apparently, it can only be cleaned with a sponge and a brush.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's no. The cost will be scaffolding, apparently, which I understand
Right.
there's somebody local that provides that free of charge.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I have talked to Eddie from
Sandra? Sandra?
Last time, whenever it was, fair few years ago, a stonemason did it voluntarily because of the fact of what it is, so he did it free of charge.
Yeah, I'm working with Eddie. Is it Eddie Edmonds on this?
Yeah.
And he thinks
What, the window cleaner?
The window cleaner. Yeah. He thinks he can get this scaffolding free of charge, and we may just need to get somebody to do the scrubbing. But we're working on it anyway to try and. It looks a bit dark at the moment. I could do with a bit of TLC.
Any other comments on Peter's report?
No.
No? Okay, everyone's happy with that. Item 17 is general correspondence. That's to note the general correspondence listed in Appendix R.
Yeah.
Okay, and the dates of future meetings: planning 1st of June, media and communications 10th of June, the extraordinary meeting 18th of June, and full council 25th of June. Moving on to part 3, the confidential stuff. Peter, is there any updates we need to do?
No legal matters to raise, no.
Okay, so 19 and 20 not required. Part 4, I haven't been notified of any urgent matters.
I haven't, Chair.
Okay. I therefore declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.